In yesterday's video on the channel, we talked about the latest Donovan Mitchell trade rumors and what it would take for the New York Knicks to land the Spider in a trade. And a lot of people in the comment section were like, have people not learned from the Carmelo Anthony trade that happened more than 10 years ago now? So let's revisit that, where the Knicks, they got Melo, Chauncey Billups, Ronaldo Balkman, Anthony Carter, and Sheldon Williams, and gave up Wilson Chandler, Raymond Felton, Danilo Gallinari, Timofey Mozgov, a first-round pick, and 2 second-round picks. So now that we know, everything that happened and went into this trade, and we know what went down following it, I want to ask you this question. Who won the Carmelo Anthony blockbuster trade that happened more than 10 years ago? Let me know in the comments section. Type NYK for the New York Knicks or DEN for the Denver Nuggets. I want to know where all of you stand. Now let's get into the latest New York Knicks news and rumors. What's going on, New York Knicks fans? You're watching New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports, and I'm your host, Marshall Green. In today's show, we're going to touch on the latest trade rumors surrounding the Knicks. We'll touch on the tail end of the show, on the latest Donovan Mitchell rumblings, and everything that's gone down since that Rudy Gobert trade, where the rumors were that they were going to hold on to Donovan Mitchell, and now they might trade him. We'll talk about that later, but first, let's start with OG Anunoby, a player that's been mentioned in trade rumors for quite a while now. Back before the NBA season ended, there was rumors that he was disgruntled with his role in Toronto. And the latest reports are he has been linked in trade talks between Toronto and Brooklyn involving a Kevin Durant trade. It sounds like the Raptors want to make a move for Kevin Durant, and if they do, OG would be involved in that trade package. We know they were shopping him in the NBA draft. The Portland Trail Blazers reportedly offered pick number 7. Toronto said no. So could OG be had for the New York Knicks if they want to go out and make a trade for him? Sam Amico, who works for Hoops Hype, on Twitter 2 days ago said, players I've been told more than once that could be on the move this offseason via a trade. He mentioned OG Anunoby. So there's smoke. Sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire. And the latest rumblings are if they are really going to go out, that being the Toronto Raptors, and make a move for KD, and OG is being talked about, the New York Knicks need to make a move and see what they can do to pry OG from Toronto. This is what Jake Fisher said a couple of weeks ago when it came to Anunoby. He said, following a standout season from Rookie of the Year Scotty Barnes, word has circulated among rival front offices that Anunoby grew dissatisfied at times with his role in Toronto, where Barnes joined Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet as the primary ball handlers in Nick Nurse's offense. Jake Fisher also said, there's been 2 sources with knowledge of the dynamic told Bleacher Report that Anunoby has not directly expressed discontent with his situation with the Raptors, but perhaps the conversation around him has been driven more by external interest in acquiring the 5th-year forward services. The reason people want him is because he's a damn good basketball player. He's pretty much everything you want in a versatile 3-and-D player, but that kind of puts him in a box. He's more than just a 3-point guy on the offensive end. That's why he averaged 17 points per game this year. And he's very efficient, shooting 36% from 3, 44% from the deck. Also will give you 5 rebounds. But like we said, he's more than just a 3-point specialist on offense. He can put the ball on the deck, score at all 3 levels. He's really good in the mid-range. I think he would fit a Tom Thibodeau offense really well, and he's arguably one of the best perimeter defenders in the association. He would take on the task every single night of guarding the opposing team's best offensive player, and right now, the Knicks need that type of player. So I'll ask you this question, and then we'll take a deeper look on the latest OG Anunoby stuff, contract details, as well as what a trade may look like if the New York Knicks wanted to get involved. But I'll ask you this question first. Should the Knicks and Leon Rose trade for OG? Let me know. Type Y for yes, or you can go down and type N for no. The NBA offseason is here, and New York Knicks Now has been cooking throughout NBA free agency, as well as the NBA draft a couple of weeks ago. And that's why you should subscribe. You should also go down and hit that big red button, because we're trying to catch another Chat Sports channel here, Boston Celtics Today. I'm making an official sub-battle declaration. My guy Will Scott has no idea about this. Knicks Nation is about to go out and try and catch Boston Celtics Today. We are just under 3,000 subscribers away, So let's catch them. I hate Boston, you hate Boston, and being a New Yorker, you hate the Celtics. So subscribe because you hate the Celtics, but also for free daily videos on the latest New York Knicks news and rumors. I think OG with the New York Knicks would be a perfect fit. In my opinion, everything that he brings to the court and the hardwood is everything that the New York Knicks are lacking. This is someone that can stretch the floor and make it easier for a guy like R.J. Barrett or now Jalen Brunson, able to operate inside the three-point line. He'll also be already the best wing defender on the New York Knicks roster. He does what people on this roster don't do. He stretches the floor and he plays defense. And he's on a relatively cheap contract as well, and he's going to be an unrestricted free agent, and he'll hit that market when he's just 28 years old. He's still a young player that, in my opinion, hasn't even reached nearly close to this type of ceiling he has, where last year averaged 17.5. While being the best defender on the Raptors. He's going to make $17 million this year, then $18.5 the following year, and then almost $20 million in 2024, and then he'll be an unrestricted free agent in 2025. So with that $17.3 million salary, if a trade happened, the guy that fits perfectly with that is Evan Fournier. He makes $18 million, and there's been trade rumors surrounding Fournier. So what about a trade where the Raptors get Fournier, Cam Reddish? I know a lot of people on this channel love Cam Reddish. I do too. But I also love him, and that means that he can be used as a tradable asset. He has a lot of fans across the league. Some people haven't seen it yet, but if you look further down the line, you might see it. He's a big-time player. But if you can go out and get OG Anunoby, I think that thrusts the Knicks into being a top 5 team in the Eastern Conference, a legit playoff contender, looking to host round 1 of the Eastern Conference. If you can get OG in a starting lineup to pair with Jalen Brunson, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, and Mitchell Robinson, this would be the most talented starting 5 the Knicks have had in a very long time. And I think the dynamic and how this starting 5 would play together would work perfectly. Brunson would be your primary ball handler. OG would be your spacer and your best defender. RJ would do what RJ does. Hopefully Julius takes a step this year and can be at least a decent three-point shooter to stretch the floor. And Mitchell Robinson will continue to patrol the blue paint in Madison Square Garden and be that lob threat for Brunson. I think Robinson will take a step with Brunson. I think this whole starting 5 could get the Knicks in the playoffs. And the reason we're talking about this is because there's a concern. Could a Brunson and Fournier defensive backcourt get it done? It's concerning. Brunson's not a terrible defender, but he's nowhere near an elite defender. And we know Evan Fournier is not a good defender. So that starting lineup right now, if you hold on to Evan Fournier, lacks some defense. You go and trade for OG Anunoby, it would not lack any defense. You'd have him as a perimeter stopper and Mitchell Robinson patrolling the paint, something Tom Thibodeau would love to see on the defensive end. So with Fournier being mentioned in trade talks and him matching the salary of OG Anunoby, I think that would be a great first building block in a trade. Would this trade get it done? I'm not sure, but I want you to take the seat of Leon Rose right now. If the Raptors offered you this trade, or if you identified OG as a guy that you wanted to go out and get, would you make this trade? Type A for accept, or you can go down in the comment section and type D for decline. Story number 2 on today's show. Get your popcorn ready, because it's what every New York Knicks fan and really every NBA fan at this point is talking about. It's the Kevin Durant trade rumors and the Donovan Mitchell sweepstakes. What's going on? What's the latest surrounding Donovan Mitchell? Let's turn back the clock and, remember what happened yesterday. After Rudy Gobert was traded, everyone thought, are the Utah Jazz blowing it up? Could Donovan Mitchell be next? Woj, he dropped this Woj bomb and said, slow that down a little bit. He said the Jazz gathering 6 first-round picks in the past 24 hours, including 7-footer Walker Kessler, the 22nd overall pick in 2022. The Jazz plan to retool the roster around all-star guard Donovan Mitchell. But then Andy Larson, who covers the Utah Jazz, backdoored that a couple hours later and said, for what it's worth, I'm hearing some pushback regarding the idea that the Jazz are definitely keeping Donovan Mitchell moving forward. The sense is that the Jazz are keeping their options here. They could retool around Mitchell or trade him for a massive haul to jumpstart a rebuild. And that's what I think. If I'm Donovan Mitchell, I know I said pick me or Rudy Gobert, and you chose Rudy Gobert. But I was kind of hoping you'd pick me, because right now, if I know the type of competitor that Donovan Mitchell is, He doesn't want to be in a rebuilding and retooling season that Utah is going to have this year as they look to retool and rebuild that roster. But why are we talking about this? Because the Knicks were listed as the third most favorable team for Donovan Mitchell to suit up for in the 2022 NBA season. The latest odds are the Utah Jazz are minus 300, the Miami Heat are plus 400, and the Knicks are plus 900. There was a report out there that the Miami Heat made a trade offer for Donovan Mitchell. There was also a report that Fat Joe said that Donovan Mitchell wanted to play for the Heat, but that was debunked by Fat Joe, who said, I never said that. So there's a whole bunch of smoke going around. And Ian Begley, after all the dust settled yesterday, said this: the New York Knicks are hesitant to trade the combination of picks and players that it would take to land a player like Donovan Mitchell. What I take from that is this: what does a player like Donovan Mitchell mean? Are they talking about what he brings to the court? What he brings as, a franchise-changing face? This is what I think is concerning for the New York Knicks. What lands Donovan Mitchell in a trade? Because we saw Rudy Gobert be traded for arguably the biggest trade package in NBA history. And we'll pull that trade up in a second. But if you're Leon Rose, does that make you pause and say, I am not ready to give up those type of assets for Donovan Mitchell, who is widely regarded as the better player than Rudy Gobert? This was that trade. Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverly, Walker Kessler, the other two players. The players don't matter except Walker Kessler. That was all to match salary. But then 4 first-round picks, 3 of them being unprotected picks in a 2026 pick swap. So you're giving them 4 first-round picks, a first-round pick you made just 2 weeks ago, and a pick swap, resulting in potentially 7 better first-round picks for the Utah Jazz. So that makes me think, what would it take for Donovan Mitchell? Are the Knicks ready to ante up what it would cost? The Knicks have the assets, no doubt about it. 7 first-round picks over the next 3 years, 11 first-round picks over the next 7 years, and 8 of those 11 are tradable assets. So if the Utah Jazz got an offer that was unresistible from the New York Knicks, would they pull a trigger? I don't know, but my thought process in kind of connecting all the dots is this. Signing Jalen Brunson was kind of punting on Donovan Mitchell. Because why would you want to pair I know that there's ties from Donovan Mitchell to the New York Knicks and the CAA agency and Johnny Bryant on the staff, who was a favorite of Donovan Mitchell in Utah. I know his dad works for the New York Mets. I know he hangs out with Emmanuel Quickley all the time. And they go to Rangers games. And Donovan Mitchell's at the Mets game today. I understand that. But can a Brunson and Mitchell backcourt get it done on the defensive end? I think that's what Leon Rose and the management of the New York Knicks are thinking. 2 6'2" guards that are not good defensively by any means. Brunson's better than Donovan Mitchell, but Donovan Mitchell was a liability on defense in the playoffs. And we saw that against the Dallas Mavericks. Jalen Brunson took him to work. And then when Luka Doncic came back, he was taken to work. And then Spencer Dinwiddie said, hey, let me get my turn with him. He was used and abused in that series. I know it's wild, and that might have sounded a little crazy if you heard it out of context, as my producer's in my ear is saying something. But seriously, Donovan Mitchell is great. We know that. He's a 30-point bucket walking every single night. But can you win with a Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell backcourt? I know I've been in the camp of wanting to trade for Donovan Mitchell, but I woke up today and I took the emotion out of it and thought, can you win with 2 6'2" guards that are not even close to good defenders in the NBA? I'm not sure. I don't think so. And that makes me concerned and ask this question. Should the Knicks actually go all in on Donovan Mitchell? Will Leon Rose do it? Should he do it? Knicks fans, let me know in the comment section what you would do or how you're feeling. Light up this comment section and sound off. Should the Knicks go all in for Donovan Mitchell? Type T for trade, or you can go down and type P for pass. I appreciate everybody that's made New York Knicks Now a part of their day today. The NBA offseason is going to continue to cook, and I'm going to continue to put out tweets every single day about the Knicks. So if you want another Knicks talking head on Twitter to follow, hit me up. I'm your guy at @MarshallGreen_.